Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Kahak Dash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honors to your apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, great millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh by Shema Bashah. Trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrews like this, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, or so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Got another video of America's economy looking like shit, when there ain't no more jobs, people getting laid off from jobs, either AI for whatever other reason. But ultimately, all this shit is leading to that chip implant. Hell. Anyway, I'm going to pray these videos. I'm going to get into the scripts of my best ability to say whatever God say through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, the Holy Spirit of Kurhak Kadash, Lord, when it be on me, I get it.
It's getting real, y'all. It is getting really, really, really real. So let me show you this. Quote, "We're going to get killed. White House in full-blown panic as economic outlook darkens." So Raw Story says the following: as the U.S. war against Iran rages, strategists in and around the White House are growing increasingly panicked over rising energy costs and their impact on voters, who they fear will overwhelmingly reject Republican candidates in the upcoming midterm elections.
Oh, who gives a fuck about that?
Politico reported Monday. Launched by President Trump on February 28th, the U.S. war against Iran has sent oil prices soaring, with the average cost of a gallon of gas rising by more than $1 since the war began, the single largest month-over-month increase since gas prices tracking began in 1967 under former President Lyndon B. Johnson. So worse than the crisis in the 70s. And despite Trump's claim that gas prices may decrease in the United States by November, strategists close to him say that no amount of rhetoric will save the GOP in the face of increased energy prices. Quote, "The rhetoric around this stuff matters way less than the reality," said a person close to the White House speaking with Politico. "It either will be or it won't be. If we don't see $3 a gallon gasoline, we're going to get killed." The average cost of a gallon of gas was $4.05 as of April 1st, with Trump's own energy secretary, Chris Wright, acknowledging recently that it could very well be until 2027 before the average price for a gallon of gas drops below $3. That could happen later this year. That might not happen until next year, Wright told CNN's Jake Tapper on Sunday. By the way, what happened? Trump got furious with him over that. Trump's all about the theater. Trump's all about the show. Trump's all about the false confidence. And so him doing that is him saying, no, you idiot, you're supposed to lie and just make people think it's going to be better. Make people think that it's going to get better quicker. Because if they believe that, then that impacts the markets. And then it will lead to a temporary decrease in prices. This is how he thinks. It's all about psychology more than it is about facts of reality. And another way of saying this is, he's a fucking liar. And he willingly lies.
There's a gap between healthcare for the rich and healthcare for everyone else. The rich get concierge.
They say the rising oil prices have largely been caused by Iran's partial closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping waterway through which a fifth of the world's oil trade flows. The Strait of Hormuz was briefly reopened to all vessels over the weekend before being closed to U.S.-aligned vessels again on Sunday in response to the U.S. naval blockade, which Tehran accused of being a violation of the temporary ceasefire agreement between Washington and Tehran. So, guys, they know. They know how bad it is. They know they're cooked, and they are just desperate. But there's no way out of it. There's no way out. How about this? This chart is going to blow your fucking mind. Ready? It's a good time to find a job. Only 28% say it's a good time to find a job. That's down 32 points. 72% say it's a bad time to find a job. That's up 31 points. Here's what that looks like in chart form. Oh my word. So even going back to 2022, which was like, viewed as the official end area of the pandemic, okay? Look at the fucking numbers, bro. People now look around and they go, who the fuck is that? What are people hiring for? What are they hiring for? Fucking OnlyFans? Gambling? AI bullshit? It's over. It's over. They're like, what jobs are there? The entire economy is basically OnlyFans and gambling and AI hype, which is going to all blow up in a second. There is no real economy. The economy's fake as fuck. And people are aware of that. And that's why they go, no, this job market sucks ass. It's impossible to find a job. We've all seen the horror stories. So, I gave my resume out to like literally 78 different places, and every single one of them said no. Or, it dragged me on a little bit and then effectively said no. Like, this is where we're at now in this country. Well, how do you think that impacts voters? It fucking radicalizes people. And by the way, we already saw the blue-collar job apocalypse with globalism and outsourcing, right? All those jobs were outsourced to fucking China and Bangladesh and Mexico and all these different places. And so our factory jobs cooked. But then everybody was like, okay, we got to go into white-collar work. Those are the desk jobs, the stable desk jobs. Well, now, because of AI, they're promising a desk job white-collar work apocalypse. So the exact same thing that happened to blue-collar workers, which we still haven't fucking recovered from, now they want to do that to the white-collar workers. And so now what you're seeing is they're fucking up, because this is one of very few things which can very quickly lead to a class consciousness awakening. where what white collar workers realize and blue collar workers realize is they look around and they go, holy shit, we are in the same boat. Holy shit, it is the 1% versus.
All right, anyway, next video.
They put out a poll that says, how do families feel about the economy? The top answer regarding the economy was getting worse. 70% answered that. And so you know things are bad when even Fox News can't hide it from their audience anymore. Again, 70% are saying the economy is getting worse. And this is also just coming out today. We kind of knew the rumors, but it ends up being true, unfortunately. Meta to lay off 10% of employees in May, right? Meta, Facebook, Zuckerberg and the team, 10% of employees. So that's going to be about 8,000 workers, they say. They're also cutting any kind of job openings or hiring. So basically, they're not hiring. They're trying to fire and cut costs. This is the same with Microsoft. Also, they just announced this today. Microsoft offers buyouts to 7% of workforce. So they're trying to get as many people out as possible. And you're going to notice a pattern with both of these companies. And this is a theme that we're seeing is they want to put more AI automation, basically replace humans with robots. This is coming from Microsoft. Microsoft is offering long tenured employees, so I guess people that are hard to get out, voluntary buyouts. A first for the software giant as it continues to reorganize staff around its push to accelerate its artificial intelligence efforts, right? And you have a similar thing here with Meta. It says Meta will lay off 10% of staff, or roughly 8,000 people in May, as it seeks to streamline its operations and pay for the massive investments in artificial intelligence. And basically, regarding the Meta thing, they gave a number. It says Meta plans to spend up to 135 billion on AI infrastructure this year. So they want a bunch of, robots, data centers, these kind of things, and as far as many people as possible. So, it's no wonder then people are saying that the economy is getting worse. You have higher costs, less jobs, and you have the war that Trump keeps pushing. And then they're completely delusional. It's like, I will show you guys, because this is the messaging from the White House today. They're telling you not to panic, right? If you've never been a panican, this pin's for you. Trust in Trump. Okay, great. And then you got Trump telling you that all the jobs are coming back. They say the Trump effect. American manufacturing is roaring back as factory activity hits 4-year high. That's according to Trump. Well, listen to this. This is actually coming from Canada and Doug Ford. Is that very interesting? Have a listen.
A tariff on Canada is a tax on America. And I'll give you a couple examples. The auto sector has lost $107 billion since the tariffs came in effect. Tourism is down by 30%, $4.5 billion. 90,000 American manufacturing jobs are gone. And this is not what the president ran on. He ran on making sure there's more jobs. Well, now there's less jobs because of the tariffs that he's put on Canada. Your number one customer in the world. We buy more products than anyone, and vice versa. America buys more products off Canada than anyone. So we've been so intertwined, we have to get back to the table and start negotiating.
So Doug Ford actually illustrates it well. If you basically cut ties with your leading trade partner, your leading ally, it hurts both sides. And in fact, he's just illustrating how, say, Canadians will boycott American goods or you'll lose American jobs. And then you flip over to what Trump is doing, and he's basically sleeping on the job.
Did you know a new heating and AC system in the greater Atlanta metro area could cost you just $110 per month?
For more than a decade, that other wealthy nations have been getting a free ride on American innovation.
Damn, that nigga he like Joe Biden.
Just like in defense, but they've been getting in health defense a free ride. And now President Trump is putting policies in place to force these nations.
And you get
that nigga through
the idea, and he'll doze off in these kind of meetings and such. This is also what's going on. Then they have him record these things, and he's going to tell you how, guys, it's fantastic. We're going to beautify DC. Listen to this.
All they can do is a swimming pool. And I said, give me a good price. We can do it for maybe $1.5 million to $2 million as opposed to $300 million. We scrubbed the surface of the existing granite that's been there since 1922. We then ground.
So he's talking about granite, swimming pools, millions of dollars. Wow, fantastic. This is what keeps him awake, evidently, is doing this.
And they just started today putting down the material. It's a machine. It lays it very evenly, beautiful. It goes from one side to the other. It'll take about 3 days. And you're going to end up with a beautiful, beautiful reflecting pool the way it's supposed to be. Much better than it ever was, actually. It'll stay clean. We even have robots that go in it, and they ride around the bottom and they clean it like a swimming pool, but these are a much higher level.
Fantastic, right? And you can actually see the culture.
Meanwhile, you got a bunch of starving Americans everywhere. The Americans in need. Oh yeah, definitely when all that damn the drought going on. Oh yeah, shit. Anyway.
Here. Okay, guys, we're going to spend $1 million to do Trump's pet projects. We're going to make, parks and circuses and bread and circuses, in fact. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to...
Oh, yeah, with the UFC at the White House. I don't know if they already had that shit yet.
Have the UFC event and the race car at the
I guess not.
and you're going to see Hegseth speak. Wow, fantastic. This announced Hegseth speaking. And in fact, we're not actually giving people jobs. We're going to have robots to clean stuff. Wow, that's even great as well.
Well, if there are images that have been posted online, and there was and there you've got one right there. But again, this is a proposed for a site that was in the original Macmillan plan in the early.
Isn't that fantastic? Wow, he's telling us how we're all going to get an art. So I guess we're building a swimming pool.
And what's this art supposed to be? I forgot what it's some. I don't know. It's supposed to go back some pagan shit or whatever. But anyway.
And
some on that Freemasonic. No, I don't know. I can't. Anyway,
robots and granite and now the golden arch. Wow, great. And you guys have to put this together because Trump gets upset when you tell people the truth. Like, hey, people think the economy is bad. Like 70% of the people saying is that. He gets mad at the media. Then he's like, for those people fewer in number now than ever before are reading the failing New York Times, watching fake CNN, and think that I am anxious to end the war. Blah blah blah. And he's going to go on and on about how he thinks he's going to winning and Iran, is not winning. The clock is ticking. And then he's going on about. Media is doing so poorly with subscribers and viewers. and I told you guys this before. We showed this yesterday. To him, this is all a TV show. He's disconnected from regular people's lives. And he was even tweeting out before about like his, ratings at the Apprentice.
All right, well, anyway, America looking like shit. He was talking about jobs. Let me see. I got to move some stuff.
They put out a poll.
Let me see if I can move these videos up here. Change the order. So then, let's see what we got. Boom. Let's see what we got now. No, actually, I'm gonna say this for last. I might not even, you know what? Screw it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this together. Let's go ahead and play what I got, and I'm gonna avoid playing that redacted video.
Let's move over to some things happening in our country currently. Emily, we've got some economy news and some layoffs. What do we got?
We'll start by saying markets have been open for about an hour as we're talking right now. The S&P 500 is up. So I'm sure that's great news to everybody over in the White House. But a couple of big layoff announcements that we wanted to cover. We can start with this Meta announcement. Meta is going to cut 10% of its workforce, according to a New York Times story. That's 8,000 employees. They're going to close an additional 6,000 roles that were open. And they're in the process of, obviously, as the Times points out, spending heavily on AI. So going basically pedal to the metal on artificial intelligence. Another one to cover here is Nike is announcing about 1,400 layoffs. That's 2% of the entire company. It comes out to about 2% of the entire company. Shael Ben Ephraim had a roundup, so that we can also pop on the screen, Griffin, of Nike, Meta, also Microsoft offering voluntary retirement buyouts to about 7% of its U.S. workforce. Another company that is going pedal to the metal on artificial intelligence. Oracle has an AI-driven layoff between 20,000 to 30,000 employees getting cut. Again, that's as they're going pedal to the metal on AI. Amazon, 16,000 jobs cut at the corporate level back in January. Many people will probably remember that. They had recently cut about 14,000, as Shael points out, just a couple of months earlier at the end of last year. Block, massive cuts from Jack Dorsey, as they were ones that were basically citing AI. They're the ones that were kind of brave enough to actually cite AI. Dell cut about 11,000 jobs over the last year. So it's, the analyses of why we're starting to see mass layoffs are a little bit mixed. A lot of experts look at that and say, what we've seen so far is reaction to a super uncertain economy. So we have Ukraine, now we have Iran, but in the process, we've also had tariffs over the last year as well. And so there has been just an enormous amount of uncertainty. Now, the Mag 7 companies are over 30% of the S&P. Just think about that. 30% of the S&P. And a lot of them are these companies that we were just talking about. So they're cutting tons of jobs. This is the sign that we are now, I think, on the cusp of the economy not just being a reaction to uncertainty, but actually being a direct reaction to artificial intelligence. And this is as, of course, a lot of those entry-level workers, entry-level white-collar workers are graduating college in the spring. Just in the next 3 weeks here, there have been projections we're going to see historic levels of unemployment for recent college graduates. This should prepare people for that to prove accurate in the next several weeks. Unfortunately, that's really where we are.
Yeah, and one of the points Shael makes there that is very important and matches with your analysis of where the market is at this morning is he's like, we're kind of used to when companies are doing mass layoffs, it's because those companies aren't doing well, so they've got to cut costs, they've got to trim back, and they would like to keep those workers theoretically, but they're unable to. That's kind of the landscape that we're used to. But these are companies that are all doing very well, have high profit margins, but their stock will go up from cutting this workforce. And this is the terrifying logic of AI, is as companies implement it and eliminate large swaths of their workforce, the overall public will be worse and worse off. But the, top echelons of those companies and their, and their CEOs and their top shareholders will be better and better off. So the level of inequality that we have right now is already world historic, and certainly historic in terms of our nation's history. It's at its highest.
Yeah, all roads leading to that chip implant. When people had need of help and jobs and money and food and shit, and yeah, it's gonna lead to that.
Levels ever. That is set to skyrocket.
But before that, it's gonna be some chaotic shit. People gonna be losing their mind, but they're gonna be way more extreme.
With the logic of AI, where yes, the stock market may continue to go up and up, and rather than being even correlated to the general success of and well-being of the American people, it will be an inverse correlation, where the higher the stock market goes up, the worse ordinary people are actually faring.
And that's scary because of what a bubble it shows that we're under right now. Like, to Crystal's point, if something goes wrong and people start realizing, there's also a lot of circular funding in the Mag 7 world and AI world in general. So if somebody realizes one investment is looking worse than they expected and starts pulling back a little bit and the bubble starts to pop, we're literally talking about 35% of the S&P. So it's the risks of this big AI project and expansion, inflation, are really significant and actually pretty frightening, Ryan.
Yeah, we are rapidly approaching, very dark territory.
Oh yeah, let me see what this dude video right here about, and then I'll get to Nina Petrova. All these videos just keep popping up here and there. Let me see what this is about. Oh man.
Another round of mass layoffs shaking up Silicon Valley. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, is reportedly planning to lay off 8,000 workers. That's about
8,000 workers are going to be laid off by Meta. That is huge, but that is just the start. According to experts, they are stating that this is going to just reverberate around the entire U.S. economy. We are going to see every industry hit, not just tech, but tech is the one that's starting it. It's because of AI. Look at this right here. It says 20,000 job cuts at Meta and Microsoft raise concern that AI-driven labor crisis is here. It's not just 20,000. They are anticipating we are going to see between Meta and Microsoft about 23,000 layoffs over the next several months. This right here is the beginning of a massive crisis, and potentially unemployment is going to surge.
There's going to be a massive moment of crash outs and shit.
But most people...
I don't even like saying that. What is it, phrase, crash out? I'm just like, but they gonna be motherfuckers gonna losing their mind. It's gonna be chaotic. And I was gonna mention about what's that movie? It's a TV movie of The Punisher. I think I brought it up on the TV on a past video. But check that video out, cause they show you scenes of little like chaos in the streets. I don't know what it's supposed to come out in May. So you can easily download it. You know what I mean by downloading it. You ain't gotta be going through no Disney Plus and all that bullshit. But they're supposed to be having it released or come out around. It's not gonna be in theater, but it's supposed to be released in May sometime. But anyway, yeah, they're showing some scene look like chaos in the streets and shit.
People don't realize what is actually coming. They don't realize that they're in the middle.
Look like people looting and shit. It's just every man for themselves, a free for all
of potentially profits from the company and, well, their own financial well-being. Which one do you think is going to win out? Do you think the company is going to put off making money so that you can become a little more financially secure? The answer, well, is no. It's not going to happen. Look at this.
My wife got laid off last week after 8 years at the same company. No warning, no heads up, just a call, and boom, you're done.
That's it. No warning. For many companies, they're not even making the phone call. You're getting an email. It's an email, or you get put on a Zoom call and you get let go. They give you the axe right there. Your walking papers, yeah. They don't even tell you it's coming. There is no emotion. They just cut the ties and you're gone. But many people think, oh,
yeah, it's getting cold, man. Yep.
I've been here for 15 years. I'm not going anywhere. That's exactly.
They don't want to. Another thing, these people that tell you the bad news, they don't want to be the one to get a shot, a gunshot to the face, a bullet to the face. No. They like, we just gonna let them know through email, maybe a text message or some shit from, yeah. and make sure the motherfuckers are off the premises.
Exactly who Microsoft is getting rid of. The older workers and people that have been at the company for longer. That's what's happening. Look what Nike just announced. It says Nike announces roughly 1,400 layoffs in the latest round of cuts. It says the cuts primarily affects Nike's technology division and span North America, Asia, and Europe. This is going to hit everybody. It's not just tech that is getting hit. And that's where most people are getting the wrong information. They're thinking that, oh, it's just tech. I don't work in tech, so...
It's everybody. I mean, shit. People will get fired when they don't even need to get fired or laid off. All it is, they want to create a scenario where people that need of help, and Esau, hey, there's a problem, reaction. You know what's gonna be the reaction to people reacting, and they desperate, they need food, they need job, they got bills. People ain't gonna give a fuck anymore about all that shit anyway. But then Esau gonna come with that solution, which they're gonna be the chip implant, the mark of the beast.
I'm perfectly
sick. I keep saying it because, you know, you gotta repeat it so people, you know how people, like the old saying, if you want people to believe a lie, repeat it to them over and over again. And I'll say it is, if you want people to believe the truth, repeat it to them over and over again. And I'm speaking the truth, not no damn lie. Because people, they want people, no, the wicked elite, they want people to believe a lie. And how they do it? By continuously telling you over and over again that lie. But when it comes to the righteous elite, we gonna keep telling you over and over again about the truth until you believe it. And if you don't, we don't give a fuck. Get destroyed anyway.
No, tech is
we ain't gotta force it on you. We just tell it to you over and over again until you get it. And if you still don't get it, then get the fuck on.
One that's leading the charge. Every other company is gonna get hit right after. Look at this.
So I got laid off this week via an email. Let's talk about it. My name's Kendall Levin, I'm 27, I live in Austin, Texas, and for the last couple years I was making $250,000 a year at the largest software company in the world as a software sales manager. On Tuesday at 6 a.m., me, alongside 29,999 other people, got an email from an anonymous alias within the company stating that due to a restructure, our positions were no longer needed and that our employment was terminated immediately. Opened up my computer and sure enough, I was locked out. So it's been a lot to process.
Yeah, think about that. You are working at a job where you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, thinking your life is set. And then you get the email that, well, your services are no longer needed. That's what we're being told. We're being told that the companies are restructuring, they're going into a different way. And, well, you're no longer needed. But here's what makes it even worse. Where do you go from here?
Imagine if you could turn any idea in your mind.
Since the ad came up, let's get to the next one. Nina Petrova.
The future of work is changing very fast. It is not something far away at all. It is already happening. Two of the biggest tech companies in the world have just shown us what that actually looks like. Thousands of jobs are being cut as we speak. This is not mainly because of a weak economy, by the way. It is because of artificial intelligence. In 2026, a powerful and extremely unsettling trend is sweeping across corporate America. Major U.S. companies, especially in tech, are laying off tens of thousands of employees, and not in response to economic collapse necessarily, although the U.S. economy is weakening, but as part of a fundamental restructuring driven by artificial intelligence. At Microsoft, the approach is very quiet. The company is offering so-called voluntary retirement buyouts to many employees in the United States. In fact, about 7% of its U.S. workforce could be affected, and that's thousands and thousands of people. These are not forced layoffs, but instead, Microsoft is encouraging long-term employees to leave on their own terms. So this is a nice way to say, we would love to lay you off, but we're just being nice and letting you do it yourself. Workers qualify if their age plus years at the company equals 70 or more. And so effectively, this allows Microsoft to reduce staff without major public backlash. At Meta Platforms, the strategy is very different. The company is cutting jobs directly. They're not shy about it. The company plans to lay off about 10% of its workforce. And that is actually thousands and thousands of employees as well. On top of that, the company is freezing hiring for 6,000 open roles. This is a clear and very aggressive move to shrink the company. Many employees had already been worried about earlier cuts, and now those fears are becoming reality. So why are both companies, the biggest tech giants in the world, cutting jobs at the same exact?
They're creating a scenario. They're gonna make it bad for the people that's been fired, and even people that ain't even necessary. Like I said, it's all leading to the chip implants, the mark of the beast. Shit, yeah.
Time. Well, the answer is very simple. AI. Both Microsoft and Meta are spending huge amounts of money on artificial intelligence. So effectively, they want to reroute their financing, their operating costs from payroll to investing in AI. Microsoft is expected to invest over $100 billion, and Meta plans to spend as much as $135 billion on AI. These are massive, truly massive numbers. To fund this, companies are cutting costs in other areas, and labor is one of those biggest costs. It's an overhead that they all want to get rid of. Now, neither company has directly said this in their internal messaging, of course, but the meaning is very clear. Job cuts are helping to pay for new investments, and AI is now seen as a primary focus. CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been very open in public. He has said that AI is reducing the need for large teams. Tasks that once needed many people can now be done by just one skilled worker using AI tools. Now, at Microsoft, the message is very similar as well. CEO Satya Nadella has spoken about how AI is boosting productivity. He said the AI is already doing up to 30% of the company's coding work.
A lot of time they say this shit, and they probably full of shit. Cause you're hearing like a lot of times that AI is not, it's screwing up on certain tasks, and then they have to turn around and start rehiring the people that they let go. Yeah. Anyway.
And that is a huge shift. It means fewer developers may be needed in the future. And in fact, as AI is advancing, they will certainly see a reduction in their labor force. Microsoft's AI chief, Mustafa Suleyman, made an even stronger claim. He said AI could replace most white-collar jobs within 12 to 18 months. That is a very short timeline if you think about that. Just 12 to 18 months. That is nothing. It suggests that the impact of AI could come much faster than many people expect. And this is not just happening at Microsoft or Meta. It is spreading across the tech industry and beyond.
If we were to hire a new college graduate,
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, once again, by the chip implant, they ultimately want you to get... This nigga always wearing that damn jacket. He must got, like, multiple of the same damn jackets. I don't know. But anyway, what did nigga... Elon Musk, what he said several years ago, maybe more than that, about people got to get... in order to compete with AI, you got to be one with AI. You got to adapt with AI. Well, that chip implant is that one way. Man, you better seek y'all by Shemal Shah, man, because these devils, hey, this is what this world coming to. They leading people to the chipping stations. Yep.
today, and I have a choice between two. One that has no clue what AI is, and one that is expert in using AI. I would hire the one who's expert in using AI. I would advise that every college student, every teacher should encourage their students to go use AI.
Yeah, use AI, but y'all using AI and y'all don't need anybody to. Whatever.
College student should graduate and be an expert in AI. And everybody, if you're a carpenter, if you're electrician.
Seriously, a carpenter? Are you gonna be laying out carpet or putting hardwood floors or laminated floors? You need AI to do that? Nigga, please. You don't need no fucking AI to do all that shit.
Go use AI. Go see what it can do to transform your current job.
Oh my goodness. Carpentry work? That's so hands-on. Unless that damn thing can pre-cut. It can measure out the room layout, measure the material you about to put on the floor, and it'll have a machine. They'll have a machine that'll pre-cut the stuff that you need to put this here and that there, and you know all that. I don't know. I don't think. Now they don't have no shit like that.
Companies are cutting jobs and slowing hiring. For example, Block Inc. cut a large part of its workforce earlier this year, and the reason was the same. AI is making companies more efficient, and they don't need to cover payroll. The pattern is very, very clear. Companies want to do more work with fewer people, and AI allows them to do that. This changes how businesses think about hiring, and it also changes what they expect from workers. For employees, this means job security is becoming less certain. Think about the impact that it has on the U.S. economy and the global economy as well. Even skilled workers are feeling pressure. Companies now want people who can work with AI tools, and they want workers who can produce more value on their own. The shift is only beginning, of course. AI is still developing, and it will become more powerful over time. That means
it's still developing, but yeah, like I said earlier, man, and it's still developing, but then it's still not working well, and then they have to call people back up that they fired and bring them back, 'cause they need them,
Impact on jobs could grow even larger, and employees have more and more pressure coming at them from different directions.
I ain't playing no more of these. I usually, when I play her videos, I play it all to the end. I ain't got time. Damn. My bug must have flew in my mouth. I swallowed a damn bug or something. Damn, keep coughing all of a sudden. But anyway, Isaiah, and I'm coughing so much, my eyes getting watery. Must be getting allergic or something. I don't know. I don't see how you get an allergic reaction. Well, you can get an allergic reaction and can start coughing. Isaiah chapter 19. My nose is snotty too. Yeah. It's probably the damn fan. Let me turn the fan off. Isaiah chapter 19 verse 15. Neither shall there be any word for Egypt. Talking about America, because it's a spiritual Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rust may do. White collar jobs, blue collar jobs being replaced by AI. Yeah, they are, but then also I know they firing people just for the hell of it, because they try to create that scenario with people that need help and need, they hitting hard times, and then on the way to fix those woes. Those Babylon woes and shit, financial woes, is the chip implant. Next video.
Right, shifting focus to the US economy now, which is showing multiple signs of stress across consumption, inflation, and financial markets. Real consumer spending has slowed to levels not seen since the 2020 crisis. That's raising concerns about the strength of America's key growth engine. Take a look at this next report to know how American economy is reeling under this new reality.
The US economy is showing clear signs of strain on the demand side, with real personal consumption expenditure rising just 0.8% on a 3-month annualized basis. This is the weakest pace since the 2020 crisis and close to levels seen during the 2001 recession. Given that personal consumption accounts for nearly 68% of US GDP, the slowdown signals a direct risk to overall growth momentum. At the same time, inflationary pressures are building again. In March 2026, US inflation rose to 3.3% year-on-year, up from 2.4% in February. Energy prices were the main driver, surging 10.9% in a single month. This marks the sharpest rise since 2005. Fuel oil prices saw an even steeper jump of 30.7%, marking their biggest increase in over 2 decades. The combined effect of weaker consumption and higher prices is tightening household budgets and weighing on demand-led growth. The ongoing conflict with Iran has emerged as a major economic shock, with direct fiscal and market consequences. Early Pentagon estimates suggest the US spent over $11.3 billion in the first 6 days of the war, rising to around $6.5 billion by day 12. Much of this spending has gone towards advanced weapon systems and operational deployment. The Pentagon is now seeking an additional $200 billion in funding, pushing defense outlays sharply higher. This comes alongside a proposed $1.5 trillion annual military budget, even as non-defense spending faces cuts. Officials have acknowledged uncertainty over the total long-term cost, highlighting growing concerns in Congress over fiscal transparency and rising deficits. Financial markets are reacting to this pressure. The US 10-year Treasury yield has risen from about 3.96% at the start of the conflict to around 4.5%, before stabilizing in the 4.25 to 4.4% range. Higher yields reflect inflation fears and increased government borrowings, both of which are tightening financial conditions across the economy. At the same time, wealth distribution trends show a widening generational divide in US financial assets. Americans aged 70 and above now hold a record 17% equities and mutual fund shares, while those under 40 hold only about 3%, nearly 2000s levels. This gap has widened significantly since 2008 financial crisis. Public sentiment is also weakening. Around 73% of Americans now describe the economy as poor, while approval ratings on economic management have declined.
The cost of everything that we do is going up. And the income for everything that we do is going down. And just availability of stuff is also getting to be a challenge. And then I've got so many friends that I've got, customers who can't afford to shop at this anymore. I've got farmer friends who've gone bankrupt.
Analysts, including Citi, warn that the US economy is shifting away from a stable Goldilocks environment towards a more inflation-prone and volatile phase, where growth remains but at a higher economic cost. Business Bureau, Beyond World is One.
Yep, America looking, it's pretty much through.
You know, when I first started playing, it was, we played gospel music and bluegrass, which is all traditional stuff, and that comes.
So there's a phrase I keep seeing pop up lately, and it says a lot in just a few words. There's no wiggle room anymore. And that's not from people that are rich or influencers. This is from your everyday middle-class Americans.
Oh, Casey, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm actually going to a job interview. Don't you already have a job? Yeah, but I actually need a second job. Oh, aren't you a nurse? Like, don't you have a career? Yeah, I do have a career. I've actually been a nurse for 13 years, but I am currently 12 minutes away from a job interview so I can have a second job because I live in a state with a data center, and that data center has run our electric bills up so high that literally in the middle of winter one month, it was $800. It was $800. And 2 months ago, when it was really, really, really cold, it was $400. And that was us not having the heat on. It was really just lights and, you know, maybe TV from time to time. I don't have a TV in my living room, and I don't watch TV in the bedroom. So really, all I can imagine is that that's just the cost of living. So I guess now, you know, as a career woman with a bachelor's degree, I have to have a second job.
Oh,
and maybe
a career woman. Yeah.
Oh, and also, do you know how much daycare is? It's $25,000 a year if I'd like to have a daycare that is open in congruence with hospital hours because I work 12-hour shifts. I love this for me. Yeah, this is not like a second job where I'm going to have like all this fun money. It's a second job so that I can literally afford groceries, I can literally afford bills, gas at this point, and to feed my son. And maybe I'd like to sign him up for soccer. That's actually like on my list of goals.
I'm going to show you how much money I have in my bank account, and it's not a lot, but I do want to preface with this, that a lot of people in America are experiencing this. A lot of people live like this. This is their regular lives. I am that family that makes just enough that we don't qualify for like food stamps and stuff like that, but still living paycheck to paycheck. Being on maternity leave, most places in the U.S. do not pay you. I'm an elementary teacher in a public school district, and I get paid so little that my children receive free and reduced lunch. Having a job that requires a degree that I went into major debt, am in major debt for. This is what my bank account looks like. $6.84. We have a mortgage, we have 3 kids. Things are tight, we make it work. And this is what it's like for a lot of people. A lot of those lower, technically middle class, but lower middle class people. This is how we're living.
How does anyone afford anything in this economy? I don't know. I think the same thing every day. I think it's pretty much.
And it's like nothing but Edomite looking women complaining.
We rent everything. We don't own anything. Everyone's renting their cars, renting their apartments, renting their houses. Everyone has multiple credit cards. They're probably all maxed out. They're taking out loans. Pretty much that, or you're a prostitute. Or you're a rich kid and your parents have money.
I am so sick of how expensive it is to just live. Before I left work, I had to make sure I bought tickets to my kid's musical for school. And I'm going both nights, and then my parents and my husband's parents are going one night, and then we're going as a family one night. So I just paid for those tickets. So for all those tickets all together, it was like $62 or something like that, 62. And then I left work, I got my kids to school. I had to get gas. I was on E. My gas light was on. I had busy like for the rest of the evening after I wake up, after sleeping, so I was like, let me just do it. It just cost $78 to fill my tank. I do have a like a mid-size SUV. I have a Chevy Traverse. But literally before this day has even started, I've now spent $140. How the freak do you sustain life anymore? I don't know. It's so frustrating how expensive everything is. Like every time you turn around, there's like something else to pay for, and I know that's being an adult, and I know that's life. But it's so frustrating. $78 to fill my tank. That's a record. That's the most it's ever cost me to fill my tank since I've gotten this car. I'm unwell.
Where are we reducing our spending? Because everything's up.
Now you got Eve.
Gas is up, groceries are high, everything. And we're saying we're getting more intentional about our spending. For me, it's going to be eating out. I'm only eating out once a week because it adds up fast. So what are you reducing? Are you eating out less? Are you cutting back on subscriptions, shopping less, traveling less, being more intentional about those online purchases? Are you skipping those little inconvenient purchases that could add up? What spending habits are you tightening up on right now?
I personally am tired of paying for things that are overpriced. So in 2026, we are cutting back on our spending significantly. And here is a list of things that we are no longer going to be spending our money on for this year. I'm not getting my nails done. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to pay over $100 to to get my nails done. I value the service. I think it's great. It's something I just can't afford anymore. So I'm just going to have like regular nails. I'm going to do my nails at home. Growing them out, just having plain nails, it's going to be what it is. Cocktails at restaurants outside of happy hours. I am not paying $15 for a cocktail. I'm sorry. Not when I have a husband at home who can make a cocktail at home.
You should have thought about that way before you know what I'm saying? Things was getting a lot more expensive. Now they want to do these sudden changes. Anyway, and they got, whatever.
Me, and it will be just as good. It's just not worth it to me anymore to spend what should be what a meal costs on a drink, like a fun little drink, you know what I mean? And I love a fun little drink, but I cannot justify it anymore. Never paid for food delivery because we're like, we can just go pick food up, but we're definitely not paying for food delivery in 2026. The means, we have the time, we have the transportation, we'll be going to pick food up if we are ordering food out at all. But on that note, we are eating out a lot less. We are not eating out unless we have like gift cards, unless we have like Amex credits to spend, unless we have a deal, unless we're eating at happy hour prices. Like, we're just not doing it. We are only eating deals this year. Same with coffee out. We are not getting coffee out. Not that we really got coffee out that much to begin with, but I've certainly cut back on like the minuscule amount I was doing. Only getting
coffee. All right, that's enough of all this. Hagar chapter 1 verse 6, ye have sown much and bring in little, ye eat, but ye have not enough, ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink, ye clothe you, but there is no warm, and he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. So you work so hard for very little, and you ain't got enough money for food, water, clothing, shelter, or to save your money up. And that's about it. And hell, that's going on all over the world. I mean, this is about America though, but it's happening in the UK or wherever places. Next video, last one.
Someone explain this to me. A husband goes to work in an office 8 hours a day. A wife goes to work 8 hours a day in an office. The kids go to school 8 hours a day. Everyone feels like they're in a prison institution between the hours of 8 to 5, under yellow fluorescent lights, typing all day long. Then everyone finally comes home, burnt out. The kid has like 3 hours of homework and sports, and you get maybe 2 hours with your family before bed. And then we only get 2 days out of the week where we're completely free to do whatever we want. We used to be outside. We used to be farming, living in communities. Now we're in front of screens all day long, in pointless meetings with micromanaging bosses. I cannot tell you how many meetings I've been in that have been completely pointless. All of this could have been a 3-sentence email. I have 3 bullet points worth of action items, yet it had to be a 30-minute meeting. But nope, I have to spend hours every single day in pointless meetings. People in corporate, what else are we using other than fireflies to not crash out at our job?
Quite a few things feel off in America right now, and many people can feel it. They are exhausted, burned out, and stretched thin in many ways that really didn't exist not too long ago.
I don't understand how 70% or more of people are okay with working 40 or more hours per week, sometimes with 2 jobs, just to barely be making it, to have nothing left at the end of the week, be 1 week's paycheck away from total chaos, bankruptcy, and homelessness. Why are we accepting this? And I know, I'm just an average guy here in America. I don't wear a fancy suit and tie. I'm not being paid to manipulate you through the TV. Some of us out here have thought about what we can do collectively to solve this problem. And really, it doesn't involve violence. And that's a great thing, because what has history taught us? That doesn't solve shit either. That just makes the rich people richer and digs us in a further hole and keeps us right where they want us.
I'll tell you what, man, I'm about to the point where I'm going to sell all my shit and start living like the Amish. If the economy don't get much better, that's exactly what we're going to do. Gas is too damn high, groceries too damn high, everything's just too damn high. It don't matter if you make $100,000 a year anymore. I mean, shit. It's like you making $15 an hour. You know? I mean, good Lord, man. Something's got to give. And you're going to have folks say, well, you got to budget your money better and this and that and other. And while that may have some, play in it, I will say, but good God, at the same time, you can't sit here and tell me that the price of everything ain't going up. Because it has. I mean, this economy is trash, man. Well, you shouldn't have voted for the orange man. I didn't vote for anybody. Something's got to give. We got to do something. This shit's crazy.
Just 30 years ago, someone could be working at Macy's, marry someone who's working at Lowe's, 40 hours a week, get married, buy a house, and raise 3 children. The American dream. And pull that off in their late 20s or early 30s. Now, we created an economy where none of the essential jobs for Gen Zers can afford to have access to the American dream in a reasonable time frame. They might be able to save and get access to it at 57, but what the fuck? You want them to live in an apartment and sacrifice till they're 57? When every other generation before us got to have access to it in their late 20s, early 30s? If you fucked up, maybe late 30s, you shouldn't have to be a fucking brain surgeon and a top YouTuber getting married to buy the average house and have 1 child. When just 30 years ago, a high school dropout who's like, I'm just gonna live my life and get a job down the street, could raise a family on that. That's the American dream.
Nigga, that was like a long time ago, nigga. Shit. Anyway, things gotta change, and I'm tired of this fucking place. Fuck an American dream. That's bullshit, bogus to me. And you Israelites should be in your right mind and realize food crisis. I guess I'll say that too. But yeah, y'all should be in your right mind and realize it's all bullshit. It's all a charade or charade or whatever the hell you call it. It's bullshit. The new Axis. I don't know. I'll just check to see what other videos they got. But anyway, man, that's all I got, man. It's just more proof, evidence showing you that America's collapsing financially and spiritually, and soon physically it's going to be collapsed. Yeah, by that fire, nuclear fire, and from the chariots. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3, in a day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, be the people that's running the financial system, pretty much it's collapsing, it's failing, and it's going to die, and the Lord going to kill it. So ain't no God bless America. It's more like God gonna destroy America, or Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by destroy America. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because there are few, be the workers, ain't much jobs, and yeah. And those that look out the windows be darkened. The windows of which I'm talking about the future. The future of America is looking pretty grim and bad. And the doors shall be shut in the streets, big businesses, small businesses closing up. When the sound of the grinding is low, be the sound of work is brought down low. He shall rise up at the voice of the bird by the alarm clock, or the birds going chirp, chirp, tweet, 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 tweet in the morning. The early birds out there tweeting, or the rooster out there cock-a-doodle-doo. All the dogs and mutes shall be brought low. Music suck. And that's all I gotta say. But hey, man, seek Yahweh Shema Shah if you seeking protection, because it's gonna be some dangerous times, bro. There's some mercy you want to seek, man. You want to get some mercy and some protection. You better seek Yahweh Shema Shah by seeking His prophets and take heed of what to say, and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah by praying Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worship Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing His truth and nothing but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep faith, and your trust strong. Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust strong. Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order. Yahweh Shema Shah. Peace and bless to the hopeful elect, and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Shalom.